Hello guys, what I'm going to be showing you in this video is how to install AEM, how to do the installation for Adobe Experience Manager, what you need, what are the prerequisites that you need to have installed already in your computer, and what's the process that you need to follow in order to have AEM running on your computer. This one is an older video actually that was recorded from a WebEx session that I did a couple of months ago, so the quality might not be super high, but I think the content is very good, and and I hope that this is something that helps you do the installation for AEM. So let's get started. So, okay, first of all, the prerequisites for AEM are we need to have Maven 3.2.5 or higher installed. I know you already have that, but since we are recording this information, then it's better to give it, to make a note of that. We need Maven 3.2.5 installed, and if you're using Windows, it needs to be set up on the environment variables. And if you're using Linux or something like that, you need to set it up on the on the root path so that it's accessible from everywhere. The other thing that you need to have is Java 7 or Java 8. Right now, it really doesn't matter. We're not using anything particular from Java 8, so if you have Java 7, it will work. But it would be better to install directly Java 8. In the same vein as the other as for Maven, we need to have that on our environment variables if you're using Windows, and on the root path if you're using Linux. So the next step for that, and I'm going to show you just once I find it. I need here. Please give me 1 second. Oh, this is super slow.
Sir, I just sent the instructions in a Word document.
Yeah, I just saw it. I just downloaded it.
All right, so I'm the presenter, right? Let me I'm gonna share my screen. Please let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So I'm gonna be sharing this file with you guys. This is the student workbook for Adobe Experience Manager, and this one has how to install and how to do this. So the first part of this book is actually how to install and start an author instance, which is what we want here. So we're gonna just scroll down a little bit here, and we're gonna ignore all of this for now because we really don't need it right now. Okay. So how to install, how do we install AEM? Basically what we need to do is we need to have, hold on 1 second here, project AEM. Basically what Kavita sent you, or what I sent you now, is a file, and it will not come with this one. This folder it will be created by the installation. It usually will only be these 2 files. So one of them is actually the AEM installer, and the other one is a license file. So for us to install or to create a new instance of AEM, we basically need to run this file. So in order to do that, what you need to do is you open terminal, and then you go to folder where you are. So it's gonna do that project AEM, and then you basically just run the installation for the first time. So it would be something like this. In this case, the naming does have importance. It should be called like this, CQ-author-4502. Basically, this means a couple of different things. This means that I'm going to be creating a CQ because that was an name before. It changed to AEM. Later versions, like 6.2, have AEM instead of CQ, but 6.1 and before have CQ as a prefix. Then we have dash, and then we have, okay, which kind of instance are we going to be installing here? So we're going to be looking at the author instance here because that's the one that we want. The other option that we can have here is a publish instance. In that case, what we would be installing is a different instance, and it should be on a different port, which is the third value here. 4502, that's the default for the author environment of AEM. That's the port that it's going to be using. That's the port that it tries to use all the time. So it should be set up like that. But it can be changed to pretty much anything else if we need to use a different port, or if 4502 is used by some other product. So this can be changed. And if we're installing it as a publish environment.
Hey Tony, sorry to stop you. Can we go on mute if we are not speaking?
And we have been already.
Thank you. Sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so if we are installing a publish instance, which you might want to do at some point, basically you need to rename this file from CQ author to CQ publish, and change the number of the port. It defaults if you're doing the default publish port defaults to 4503. So that's how it should be called. But we're going to be mostly taking care of or using a CQ author and stuff like that. So once you run this, and I mean, I'm not going to do that because I already have it running, and I already have it built. Once you do that, it will create this this folder, CRX Quick Start. This has a lot of information, a bunch of files, a bunch of different things. But the most important part here is, and it will do it automatically based on the actual name that you created here. It will do it for the author environment on 4502, on port 4502. So if you go to the bin folder, you will see that you have a bunch of different quick start, a bunch of different batch files. These ones are for Linux, so they don't matter on a Windows environment. But basically, you can start AEM by just running quick start. Or if you want to give some more parameters or some more information, you can use start and stop instead of doing quick start. So what I'm going to show you now is, okay, what happens once you start AEM. It will be actually very similar, and I shouldn't do it like this. That's a batch file that I created. Hold on a second. Oops. OS. Oops. All right. So basically, what I did with, I created this batch file just to avoid myself having to move to a different folder and all of that. It basically just moves to a different folder and then does the quick start, which I'm going to do now manually. So here I go to CRX quick start, and then instead of doing anything, I'm just going to do quick start. What? Oh, yeah, right. It's on the bin folder. So once you do that, it will actually open up this window. Everything is directly done on Java, so you really don't even need to worry about it. It will do everything automatically. You just need to run these commands. And while it does that, I'm going to go back here, and we're going to read a little bit about what's happening here. Okay, what do we need? An AEM installation file, a startup jar file. That's the one that should be there, and the license key, which are basically these two files. From there, you need JDK, Java 1.7, 1.8, doesn't matter. A lot of size. I don't even know if 4 gigabytes of RAM is enough. Should be more. But okay. So it basically just, here's, this would be the same that I already explained. Here's the application, the mode, the port, all that stuff. And then it says, okay, how do we start it? And we're looking at the exact same stuff. A little bit to start here. And once that happens, it's done, you know. So the installation will probably take a little bit longer than than just running the instance, but it really doesn't take that long. Nothing here. And something else that you can do, and that I don't have running on this computer because it doesn't have a lot of free space, but you can have both an author environment with 4502, and you can also set up at the same time on a different port and using a different WCM mode, which right now is author or publish, but you can even create your own modes if you want to, which is a whole different conversation, not for now. But you can have a bunch of different instances running on the same machine. The only thing that you need to do is change the name of the file and run it. That's it. So basically what I think, and to recap a little bit on how to do the installation of AEM is, first you need Maven. You also need Java, and add both of those to the environment variables. You just need to double click or run the jar here directly to install AEM. Obviously, you need to set up the name, the correct name for the installation file, and to have the properties file on the same folder as this one. Once you do that, you're able to run the file. It will do the installation, and later on you can run the quick start file like I just did. That one will take the most common startup configuration, and it will run it. And that one works perfectly for EMC, for the EMC OLS platform that we're running right now. You don't really need to do anything fancy for it to work. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if there are any questions that Marty, or if there's anything else you want me to delve into a little bit more, or I don't know. I'd like to hear from you guys.
So the one question that I had is, what is the difference between the author and the publish mode?
All right, so I'm going to show you that once this one opens up. But basically, the author instance is where you as an author can come in, create new pages, modify them, and do absolutely everything with the components. Say, okay, I'm going to change this text, I'm going to change these options, I'm going to do X, Y, or Z, and then you're done. But that's on the author side. And the publish side is basically what the end user will see. So, for example, EMC support.emc.com, that's actually AEM, but it's in a publish environment. So nobody can edit anything. It just shows the actual HTML, the processed HTML, the processed JavaScript, CSS, all of that information, so that you can, as an end user, look at it, but you cannot interact with it or modify it. Only in author mode you can do it. So, okay, here it is. It's opened up. I'm going to try to... So once it's open, you can go to localhost 4502, which is a port that we set it up in. And then, since this is a local environment, you say admin, and then you are in.
So, do we need to configure this admin anywhere, or is it by default?
Nope, that comes by default.
Okay.
And over here, that's the main page you're going to see for our project, or for the way that we are working with. We should go and click here directly on this icon, this computer icon, because that will switch us to the classic UI. This is the new UI that is being pushed by Adobe for AEM, but everything that we have on Support OLS is on using classic UI. So if you click here, it'll open up a new window and it will show you the classic UI. So this is the main page for us. From here, you can navigate to a whole bunch of different things. The most important one is this website. That one will move you to the site admin, where you can actually see the entire structure for your site, and you can have a lot of different sites at the same time. As you can see here, I have a couple of different things here. Many of these, all the geometrics information that comes directly from Adobe. Its sample content can be taken down easily if you want to. This is another project, tutorial, blah, blah, blah. And then once you run, that would be interesting. All right, so how do you install? Basically, what I'm gonna do here for you guys is I'm gonna try. Okay, once you have, sorry about that. Once you have AEM running, and that's important, AEM can be running on the background, doesn't matter. And for the first time, you need to go back to the actual project where you have the OLS repository. So I'm gonna do that to show you guys. So I have that one project. Then I have AMC, OLS, trunk, OLS applications, support. I have that over there. If you see here, it basically this one. So that one reflects projects EMC, OLS, trunk. Oops, moved it. Okay, EMC, OLS, trunk, OLS applications, and we have this EMC content. These ones are packages that need to be installed directly, which I'm also going to show you how to do. But bear with me a second while I do this. So the other one is support, and this one is like the main project. This is where the project is built. The POM file, that the one that could be equivalent to something like a package JS file or package JSON file for JavaScript projects. This one will show all the dependencies that we have and install all the packages that we're missing to our local machines. So POM XML, that's where all the magic happens. So this is the main folder, and once we have this, we need to run the following command. I will forward this command to you guys. For Maven clean install p auto install package. That's the actual name of the package. The p modifier is telling us that we're going to be installing a package, and auto install package, that's the name of the package we have. And this is a debug option. Maven.test.skip equals true. I'm only adding that because it really, if we keep Maven test, it takes a long time to build. Otherwise, it builds pretty quickly. So once you run this command, it will try to generate all the necessary files. And this is very important. AEM must be running, because otherwise it's not gonna work. So here it will scan the different projects, retrieve all the necessary files, all the repositories that we're referencing here, all the dependencies that we have. It will install them, and it will go and look for all the Java code that we have there, build it, compile it, and place it on AEM, upload it to AEM directly. So that's basically all that it does here. And this is a command that you will be using thoroughly throughout the course of building or working on the AEM, because for pretty much every file that you modify, especially if you're talking about Java files, you need to run this so that all the information or all the files, all the jar files inside of AEM are updated. So this is really important. Over here, it will say if it happened, if it had success or if it failed. If you break something on a Java file, this will fail, or if you're missing a dependency, or if, a lot of different things. But okay, that's one of the steps that we need to follow. And the other step that we need to follow is, remember I talked about EMC content being a bunch of packages that you need to install manually. So what do I mean with that? I mean that you need to go to another URL, which is called urxde or package. Wait, what was it? What was it again? Package. Oops. Urx pack. Yeah, pack manager. Okay, so the package manager, basically what allows you to do, and what this is stuff, or these are files that were built at some point in another AEM instance and were exported. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take those files and import them into our local instance. The reason behind that is maybe we're calling a reference of one of those files. We're using maybe a couple of different jar files that were built for another project. In this case, we have something similar to that, like the UW AEM UI, UW search UI, support UI, a couple of different test pages, home pages. All of this information needs to be inside of our local repository. So what we need to do for that to work, and probably going to be tough for me because I already have it here, but I'll try here. You need to upload a package. You're going to browse, and you're going to copy, paste. Okay. You're going to browse. You're going to select any of them. I'm going to check force upload just because I already have it here, and otherwise it will not work. And then you click on OK. What it does is it uploads the package. It shows you where it is. Once it's there, what you need to do is click this button, or, well, it should be here. Since I already have it installed, and what it's going to say is reinstall or uninstall. Basically, what you need to do is click on install, and that's pretty much it. Once you install the package, then it will be available automatically. You don't need to restart the instance. AEM takes everything directly on real time. So if you're adding a couple of jar dependencies, or if you're adding a couple of files, or whatever it is that it's being added on these packages, it will automatically take them into account once you install them. So don't worry about that. But the only problem is you need to do it for every single one of these packages. So it's and the first time you do it, it's probably going to take a little while longer. But once you do, that's it. You won't be needing them anymore.
Hey,
so,
Tony, question.
Yep.
Sure. This EMC content is available in SVN?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
When you take the OLS applications, actually this one, OLS trunk, this one is a trunk repository from SVN directly. So when you click on OLS applications, it will show you all of this information comes directly from SVN. As you can see, we already have, we also have the SVN folder. So that's information that's on the repo.
Yep, sure.
And so yeah, you need to install all these guys. Once you do, and then upload them here and install them, then you're golden. And you should, once you install one of these packages, I don't really remember which one, but it's probably one of the of this one or this one. I don't really know. But I mean, you need to install all of them. Once you do, you will have this support folder on the root of your website. And if you go to English and home, you will see that you have, well, you won't have these ones. These are my tests. But support home, that is part of the packages. So you will see that you have the support homepage. You double click on it, you will see the actual page on how it's built. And from there, you can modify them, or you can do a couple of a lot of different things. That's basically the page. A bunch of different components. I'm gonna show you real quick another page that I built.
Tony, I'll be right back.
Sorry?
I'll be right back. Give me 5 minutes. Yeah, you can proceed with that. You can proceed. You don't need to wait. Yep. Thanks.
All right. Sure. All right. So, oh, I broke something. Well, that's fine. Basically, what I wanted to show you that, or anyone who is actually watching this recording, is how to modify pages. Basically, what you need to do is whenever you double click on a page, it will show you the edit mode. This is the edit mode. Here on the right, you see all the images that were uploaded to the DEM data access, whatever it is. I don't remember the name. But basically, all these images are available for you to place anywhere on the page. And over here, you have a list of the components that you can use here. So as you can see here, we have a couple of different component groups. These ones are, or were for my part, on a different project, and I just have them there. But you should see only EMC support. So what happens here is you have a lot of different components that you can just drag and drop. So you can choose a CTA list, direct column control, and once you do that, it will add it, and you can modify it. So this is the one that I just added. I'm going to edit. You can change a lot of different options here. Say, okay, what I'm going to do is need third, and then I'm going to do maybe a blue background color, whatever. And what it does is it places me 3 columns, and then I can drag more components here. So I mean that's pretty basic. Then you can say, okay, I'm gonna, I don't know, place some text here and do support. So this is my text. And yeah, that's it. So that's pretty straightforward. And I mean, that's a very, very, very basic component. We have components that are much more complex and have a lot of different options and do a lot of different things. And but that's the basic gist for this. As for the profile page and how that one would be built, that's a little different. However, it should also rely on components at some point, because the actual users or the editors that will be creating the pages need to have control over them. So basically what we would need to do is something like, okay, I'm going to build the profile page. I'm going to grab the name and image, or, basic information component. So we would be dragging and dropping that component, and maybe all the content is done via Angular, and that's fine. But we should add the option to the editors to be able to drag the information and use them in interchangeable places. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's a pretty quick way, or we covered the installation process and the setup process for the actual EMC project, the support project, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if there are any questions or anything else that you'd like me to cover. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was on mute, but I think so this should be good enough for us to get started and get the initial setup up and running at our local machines, right? So yeah, I guess for the AEM setup and going the current build, right, or local setup is good enough. So I guess is Murthy back on? We can ask him to stop recording, and then we can ask the other questions that we had.
Right, and just to before we wrap this up, did you get the email that I sent you? That one should have an AEM installation file and a license file. That's the one that we're using on Globant.
Oh, you set it on my Globant account. Okay, and yeah, I got it. So this is the installer, the jar file, and the AEM documentation, right? So where is the license file?
If you open the installer file, that should be a folder, and it should have both of them. Yep.
Let me check. And yeah, I see it. There is a license file, and what is this? There's the quick start file. All right.
It's called AEM 6.1 Quick Start Jar, right? That needs to be renamed to CQ-author-4502.
4502.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I guess this is an excellent guide for us. Maybe we can use this and upload it somewhere on the Inside Dell page, right? So that anyone who wants to get it up and running, the AEM setup, then this can be an excellent guide.
Yeah, I mean, this small overview works for everyone that wants to get up and running. The only thing that we don't really have control over is the actual AEM jar files and the license files. Those I know that Kavita sent you an email, but they probably weren't able to access, and it would be the same for other people. So, but I mean, once you have the AEM quick start file and the license properties file, this small guide should get you up and running, whoever you are, whenever you are watching it.
So is Murthy back on? We can ask him to stop recording, and then we can move on to the other topics. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Who was it?
I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Right. I just wanted to do one little quick thing before we stop the recording. This obviously is the author, the author mode, where you can modify this and do that. I know that I talked about it, but I think sometimes it's easier to just look at it. I'm going to switch here to preview mode. That's something that's only on the author page, and I'm going to close this. What happens is, on the publish environment, you would only look at you would look at pages like this. You won't look at any kind of control to modify absolutely anything. You will just be able to interact with it. So that's the main difference between one and the other. Otherwise, you need to do what I did, which is go to the preview mode so that you can look at the page the way that the end user will look at it. That's very much it. And that works correctly. And avoids an overhead of having two different instances of AEM and running at the same time. So I think that's all I wanted to tell you guys.
Awesome. So,
Marty, I think we can stop the recording now.
Yep, sure. Thanks, Tony.